Hey, welcome to Weekday Coronavirus-Driven Mind Stuff. My name is George Ortega, and this is episode number 62. It may actually be the last episode of this series. It's 10:50 on Monday, July 6th. So the idea is that on July 8th, I want to premiere a new series, but I've got to get the approval of the studio station manager first, and hopefully that'll happen tomorrow. And let me see the title of the new show. Hold on, I'm just checking my email for a minute. Hold on. The title is, wait a minute. Monday through Friday, cellular agriculture for a pandemic-free future. It's actually abbreviated in text, M through F, M-F, cell ag for a pandemic-free future. And it's going to be how, the only way we are going to be as safe, relatively safe, as, reasonably safe from future pandemics is if we transition from farming animals to cellular agriculture, which is growing beef, chicken, dairy, eggs, milk, yogurt, all that stuff in labs, lab grown, clean meat. It's called cultured meat. And so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I mean, no, it should happen. I mean, hopefully it'll happen. Hopefully, again, the premiere will be on July 8th. If it's not, we'll see. Frustrating evening. So, I mean, a couple months ago, I was doing a Zoom room every night, and I kind of burnt out. That was a lot. Hosting. It's one thing to participate in Zoom rooms, but it's another thing to host them. So I was hosting them every night, and then 5 days a week and stuff. But it was productive. It seemed productive. But then the internet has been so unreliable, and part of me wonders whether I'm not being hacked or not, because before tonight's meeting, for example, it started at 9. I did a speed test, and my upload and download speeds were really 5 to 6 whatever megabytes per second, which is much more than I need. But when I started the meeting, it's about I started at 9, and within 5 minutes, it's almost as if I have a suspicion that Sprint may be competing with Zoom, and so when I don't know, this may be paranoid or whatever. But sometimes I'm thinking that Sprint is throttling Zoom. Somehow they know if a person's using Zoom, and they're throttling the internet connection in those cases. I mean, that's probably, I don't know. Or it could have been that I pissed off one of Trump's supporters. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it's frustrating. But see, the other thing, I mean, I'm not going to talk about this cellular agriculture today. I mean, I was intending to, but I just got really frustrated with this last meeting, and so I'm not gonna have any Zoom meetings. So here's the thing. My perspective is that God is all powerful. In other words, we don't have a free will. Nothing is up to us. Nothing's up to any of us. So it's all up to God. And this isn't an opinion. It's kind of a logical deduction, really. I mean, think about it. Something. Yeah, might as well go through this. All right. The universe, the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago, didn't just happen. Something caused it to happen, right? And this something is what we call God. God is like described in the Bible or defined in the Bible as being the creator. So fine, God creates this universe, so follow the logic. God exists before this universe, this observable universe happened, before God created it. And logic tells you, well, if God created this universe, then the logic tells you that, like, think about it. What could have God created this universe from? And this could be the most recent of an infinite number of universes that span gazillions of years. I mean, like, there's this concept of eternity. In other words, there must have been something before this universe, and fine, we call it God, but God could have had different forms. So the idea behind this is like, what could God have created the universe from if not God? Think about it. God exists. God is the only thing that exists before the universe. And let's say, like, you could speculate, you could hypothesize that, in the Bible, they talk about, like, in Genesis, it's like we created, it's like, it describes that God is not alone in his creation, as if there are angels or other spiritual beings that are taking part in this creation. So, but like, we've got this like monotheistic, unified view of God. So let's say there were angels, other beings with whom God created this reality. Logic tells you that, fine, they are parts of God, just like we're parts of God. We do stuff, but we're part of God because God is one. In other words, everything that reality is God, right? Because by definition, God is everything. That's another, go to Wiki, go to the Bible. God is everywhere. There isn't a place where God isn't. So that tells you that God is everywhere, which tells you that God is everything. And so think about it. If you are everything and you create this reality we call the universe, you govern this universe. You decide what happens. All right. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, because I don't want to get into this long, involved explanation of that, but what I'm trying to say is that also, like, God is really, 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 really intelligent, which, kind of doesn't make sense how God would have created pain and all the problems on earth, because why would intelligence do that? But on the other hand, to have created this universe, all the laws of nature, the complexity, it's mind-boggling. You got to be pretty intelligent. So anyway, so like, when things like this happen, like my internet fails, and I think either whether I'm being hacked or whether Sprint is just like not upgrading its internet service to meet the demand of, apparently there's higher demand. And I should Google this. I haven't really, it might relieve my frustration to have a better understanding. It's not that I'm not being hacked, because that would suck even more. But even if I were, it would be God. In other words, let's say God causes Sprint to not be responsible for its internet service. God causes somebody to hack my connection. It's still God. So what I'm trying to say is, like, so I was feeling like frustrated, but then, like, I kind of like remind myself, and unfortunately it's not automatic enough, but I remind myself, well, wait a minute. who would I rather be running things, you know? God, that I kind of like deem, well, that God is like a gazillion times more intelligent than I am, or me, you know? So in other words, what I'm trying to say, I don't know why I'm like going around in circles with this, that it could be for the best. That why not, you know, I've cut out, I'm not doing any more Zoom rooms. I'm sorry, the white flag is up, you know, until the internet connection is better. Yeah, so I'm doing other things, which, so in other words, like, this might have been God's way of saying, hey, you know, these rooms are nice. You did them for like almost 3 months, but it's time for you to do other things. And actually, that's what's happening, because this new series is about this other thing. Because I was waiting for months because I didn't know what to do. Like, this world has gotten a bit crazy in terms of this coronavirus and Trump and all this stuff, you know, and so I was kind of like waiting for some like inspiration, because that's what happens with all of us. Anytime whenever we do what we do, there's a period before that where we didn't think to do it, and then it comes into our mind. So it could be that that it's for my best, for the best of the world, that I don't do these Zoom rooms, and I focus more on, because with this new series, you know, I've got to gear up to it. I you know, ever since Trump got elected, but even now more so with this coronavirus stuff, and I've just like, you know, I feel so powerless, you know, to affect anything. I mean, it doesn't seem like reason is determining what happens, at least on a human level. And even, yeah, so anyway, so like, so it could be for the best, and I should remind myself that. All right, what else? I mean, like, yeah, this is, I got frustrated. So I was on that Zoom call for an hour, and, you know, my connection kept on cutting out. And actually, you know, at the very end, my connection cut out completely. And, you know, what's that about? You know, so like I turned off the modem and turned it on, and generally fixes itself. But still, for the connection to cut out completely, that's just like, that's wrong. And actually, I should call Sprint about that, because that's not, you know, they tell me it's internet traffic. Well, internet traffic, I mean, to my knowledge, you know, maybe it does. My understanding was that internet traffic couldn't be that bad that your connection completely goes out. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to doing this new show, and yeah, so like, I'm, you know, I'm kind of prepared for it. I know, you know, it's going to be an experiment. I'm going to be saying the same thing over and over and over each night, with some variation. I think I may introduce a few themes, but yeah, like when I used to do some of my shows, I used to have like 6 talking points per, you know, per episode, and I'd just wing it from there. So I don't think I want to get that organized. I may just want to write a list of points. You know, there's like maybe the 6 basic points, you know, which are like, you know, if we want to be, the main point is, if we want to be free from future pandemics, we have to absolutely shift from farming animals to cellular agriculture. And if we're going to do it anytime soon, we need to fund this. You know, we just spent almost $4 trillion on the effects of this coronavirus. I think it makes sense to spend 50 billion, you know, which is relatively very little in comparison, on preventing another one from happening. So we don't have to spend another, and we're not done yet. You know, this is almost $4 trillion. It'll probably get up to 6-7 trillion once we're done. That's just the United States. So anyway, that's the basic theme. And I'm going to get into the evil of this, because like, you guys are all evil, even though it's not your fault. That's a great thing about understanding nobody has free will. So like, I might say that you're evil, but I'm not blaming you for it. You know, you had no control. You have no control over your complicity in this factory farming, where you pay people to literally, you know, well, maybe not intentionally, but what's the difference? I mean, they're basically torturing animals, abusing animals so horribly. I mean, like, You know, if you had a choice of being one of those animals or being a slave or being in the Holocaust or think of any other atrocity you can think of, I think you'd probably choose anything except being one of those animals, generally speaking. So yeah, so that'll be the basic theme. And, you know, and like, again, like I'm so discouraged in terms of like personal, I mean, I've devoted, I devoted about 10 years to this free will thing, you know, and, but what kept me at it was a certain kind of optimism, you know, now with this COVID thing and Trump and, you know, all this stuff, I just, I don't have that optimism, or I'm kind of, it's like, no, it's like, I don't feel that I personally can make much of a difference, you know, at least right now. Maybe in the future I can. I think in the past I have in various ways, but it's just not happening now. So it's a matter of accepting that. So yeah, I wanna premiere the show on Wednesday because it's my mom's birthday, you know, July 8th. But if, you know, if God doesn't want it to premiere July 8th, I mean, you can't argue with God, you know. I'm playing bass guitar. See, this is like a nonsense show. Like, hopefully, like, so like after, like, again, this episode number 62, and it's not like all that this has been nonsense, but a lot of it has, you know. And the next show, it's going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be really, really serious stuff, you know, drilled into you until you get it, repeated over and over and over. Like, remember how you learned how to like add and subtract and then multiply and divide? You know, it's going to be like that. Just like, you know, I'm going to be saying the same thing over and over and over until you get it. It's like, this isn't like difficult to understand. You just it has to sink in. So it's going to be an experiment. I think I can do it. You know, we'll see what happens. And, you know, because I think to myself, well, you know, what might come from this is like that I get motivated to write a few emails, you know, because basically it doesn't matter whether it's me or someone else. Somebody needs to get the world to understand that the only way we're going to be free from future pandemics is to fast track research and development of cellular agriculture, cultured meat, you know, get these products on the shelves. And it's not just that, it's like our government is so corrupt, you know, they make it difficult for these products, even though these products, like, you know, for example, like the USDA, I believe, as recently as a couple of years ago, estimated that the livestock, you know, this farming of animals throughout the world contributes about 18% of greenhouse gases. I mean, I thought it was 14%, but by a previous estimate, but it could be as high as 18. And actually, I've seen figures much higher. But that's the extent of corruption and evil in this world. That and I was just talking in this room before, you know, that people like try to like, well, why are these, you know, why are these young kids in their 20s and 30s just going out and putting themselves at risk and all? I think I have a kind of a good theory. You know, basically, people my age, I'm 62, and people in their 70s or 80s have just destroyed their future, you know, by not addressing climate change, by having such debt, by corrupting the world in so many ways, you know, we've just, you know, we have been so neglectful of our stewardship of this planet, of future generations, that they're saying to themselves, hey, you know, you don't care about us, we don't care about you. So it's, you know, it seems that people in their 60s, 70s, or 80s are the primary people who are dying. So maybe a few more of you need to die so that you're not doing so much harm. I mean, I wouldn't doubt this is something that they may not admit, but it's probably, you know, behind their attitude, you know. They may talk about it amongst themselves and, hey, you know, they don't care about us, why should we care about them? Anyway, I'm glad I've got 8 minutes, and like I'm watching this series because one of the rabbis in town is hosting a series on this. It's only four parts. I don't ordinarily have Netflix, so I just like, for this month I will, I subscribed just to see this. And there may be a documentary called Meet the Future about cellular agriculture, clean meat, that it was supposed to premiere in the theaters, but that's not happening. So I think they may have released it through Netflix. So I'll catch that, and then I'll probably, I'll end the subscription. I'll let it go because I don't watch. I've been on Netflix before. There's a lot of, there's not all that stuff, great stuff. I mean, I have Amazon Prime, and so I occasionally watch movies through there, or I'll pay like $3 if I want to watch a movie through Amazon, whatever. But so yeah, anyway, so this series is about an Orthodox woman who leaves, she lives in New York City. She moves to Germany. She wants to leave that community because it can be very oppressive for women, for some people. I mean, not for everyone. Apparently, like a lot of people, and I find there's a lot, I used to be Orthodox. I used to practice Orthodox Judaism. Not completely. I never learned Hebrew because, but a lot. I used to don tefillin, wear the tzitzis, the kippah. In the series, like the person, as soon as they get up out of bed, they wash their hands. I had a little bowl and stuff. I read. I just read so much. I studied so much Torah. This was back in the mid '80s, but I've been away from it anyway. So and I actually, there's a lot to the Orthodox lifestyle that is excellent. In others, they have an amazing community. It's just that, their inability to love in certain ways makes it hard for a lot of people. It makes it, this is not just Orthodox Judaism. This is Judaism in general. And this isn't just Judaism in general. This is religion in general. A lot of people get turned off because, our understanding of reality evolves, and you can't, for example, according to Judaism, and I think Christianity also, there's nothing. Slavery is all right. It's not completely all right, but it was all right for them to not, prohibit it. So, and so a lot of these Orthodox Jews, let's say the reason they don't have slaves here in the United States, which is, it's kind of bizarre, is because it's against the law here. But if it wasn't, I imagine some of these rabbis would say, well, it's in the Torah that's allowed to have slaves, and we shouldn't deprive ourselves of something that the Torah allows us. So that's just one example of the bizarre nature of, of our history, of our ancestors, and why it's necessary to evolve beyond this stuff. So anyway, so I watched the first episode earlier, and I'm going to watch the next one next. I think after I finish this, which will be in about 4 minutes, I'm gonna watch episode 2, and the first meeting is, I think, on Wednesday. So yeah, tomorrow I'll probably watch the other 2. And yeah, you got to feel really bad for this woman. She's a feature of ultra Orthodox, not so much the modern Orthodox, but the Hasidim, for example, they have arranged marriages today, 2020. This woman, was married to a guy that she didn't even know. She didn't really even approve of him, I don't think. And so a year later, she's just it's not working out. So anyway, yeah, so this has been a great series, and I may come back to it. I'm not gonna say it's over for good, because for example, I may eventually revive the free will series, even the happiness show. I never put a complete close to this stuff, but if I'm working on this, you know, series devoted to cellular agriculture as the only way that we're going to be safe from future pandemics, then this may, you know, hopefully I'll do 60, 120 episodes of it, you know, which is, it's going to be an amazing experiment, because I'll be basically, again, repeating the same thing over and over and over. And like college professors do this year after year after year, but I'm doing this night after night after night. We'll see how it goes. Again, part of the hope is that it inspires me to do other things, like email people with this idea, because this is just one vehicle for getting that message out. You know, if I can make some phone calls, you know, and naturally this needs motivation. So hopefully, in addition to perhaps reaching some viewers, both, you know, in White Plains and on the internet, you know, YouTube and all, that that again, it'll motivate me to do more. Okay, we're down to 2 minutes, and I'm on a diet. You know, like I'm usually about 153 pounds, but I think I'm like about 157, 58. I was up to 150. I hardly ate that much today, and I got to. So yeah, I don't know. It was a full moon. I'm a bit of, you know, technically the word lunatic means like a person who's affected by the moon. I think during full moons, I get kind of like anxious sometimes, and like sometimes like, and this I'm not making this up. Sometimes I'm for example, like I don't keep track of the moon phases, right? But sometimes I'm feeling anxious, and I'll look at the calendar and I'll see, oh, it's a full moon like the day before or the day after, whatever. So anyway, so like that was like full moon was yesterday, and I'm beginning to feel a little calm, and which will probably lead to less eating. And what else? I don't have anything else to say. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series, and you know, starting Wednesday, I hope you will enjoy the next one, which is so much more important than this one. This was kind of like maybe fun. It was like a video journal chronicling one person's experience through this. And I did present some, I think, important information, but hopefully this next series will be about important, just uber important information that we need to understand and appreciate if we're going to not descend to the Stone Age again. All right, well, hope you're having a nice Tuesday. And God willing, because it's all in God's hands. I mean, I'm just like manifesting God's will. I will see you on Wednesday and with the new series. Okay, take care.